Welcome to the Just My MomSense podcast. I'm not an expert, I'm just trying to figure out parenting, and in turn myself, while sharing things I've learned with all of you. I'm so excited because I have another great guest today. Joan Green is the founder of Innovative Speech Therapy. She's a speech-language pathologist, assistive tech expert, and author. We'll be chatting about beneficial tech tools and how Joan uses the Tech Life Inner Circle membership to help parents, tutors, therapists, senior advocates, caregivers, and more feel more comfortable with everyday tech. Joan is also gearing up for the Tech for College Success workshops that start next week. Welcome, Joan, to the Just My MomSense podcast.
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for asking me to join you.
Of course. Can you tell everyone listening just about you and your background, which is extensive, so we want to hear it all.
Well, I don't know. So I was born in Buffalo, New York. Went to school at Northwestern University in the Chicago area for undergrad and grad. And so my formal training is in speech therapy. So I'm a speech language pathologist and I help children and adults with all kinds of different communication, cognitive literacy, and learning challenges. And then I have four children of my own. We're about 26 to 33 now, I think, and I'm a grandmother of three, so that's exciting.
Yay.
Um, and my work, I have my own business, Innovative Speech Therapy, and my work has evolved over the years. And now I'm very much into helping to empower families, educators, students, aging adults, everybody with the knowledge of how to use technology to overcome barriers or disabilities or just to be more productive and efficient and keep up with it all.
Yeah, which is so important because it's so hard to keep up with it all. So much changes so quickly.
Right. And so what I do is I really like it's sort of a hobby of mine. I just love getting a new device and looking at all of the features, everything that it can do. And I'm just constantly thinking about who can this help?
Yeah.
What kind of accessibility feature or just productivity feature does it offer? And many people don't really think about that. They just see the device and see how one person uses it, but often there are many ways that technology can help people.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think was the turning point for you to really combine your background in speech and language and then with tech? And how do you decide to bring those two worlds together?
I think I had a one of my one of my clients from a long time ago. He was a really well-known and liked pediatrician, Cy Goldblatt, and I still remember him. I worked with him. I was working out at Fairfax Hospital in Northern Virginia, and he was the greatest guy. He had a stroke and had aphasia and couldn't communicate, and so I was seeing him as an inpatient and an outpatient. And he discovered really that he could benefit from some software that was made to teach English as a second language. Back when we had floppy disks and, you would download the floppy disk and he was amenable to all kinds of technology that was made for children or made for people who didn't speak English. And it was great because I could really help him learn what to practice in between our sessions to maximize progress. And I really think that he was one of the people that started me off on this use of technology, and it was mostly between sessions to practice.
Yeah.
That's how I started using it. And then since then, I mean, I remember like $600 for a touch screen before touch screens were available. I spent hundreds of dollars on speech to text and text to speech
Mhm.
technology. And now there's just so much built into the tools that we all keep in our pockets. Our phones uh, are amazing at helping people with all kinds of different challenges. And so now I really specialize in helping people use what they already have, all this mainstream technology, and you don't even have to spend extra money often to use it to meet your needs.
Yeah, I can imagine for you having seen the changes over the years of going from when we didn't have much in terms of technology for helping students, helping elderly, helping um, people that have had strokes. I mean, so much has changed over the years. Can you talk about how tech tools can help more than maybe just a student, but they can help elderly, they can help everyone really. Professionals, they can support everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I've written books about that,
Yeah.
but to sort of, think of a few examples. So I think of text to speech. So taking something that's written and being able to hear it said aloud
Yeah.
is huge. So somebody with a visual challenge, so doesn't see well, or somebody that can't hold a heavy book that has arthritis, or a student that might have dyslexia, a specific language disability where they can't decode words and have them read aloud. All of those scenarios, or somebody with ADHD, so they have an attention challenge and they can't focus on reading a lot of print material at once, but they do better with listening.
Yeah.
Or somebody that gets headaches, migraines from having a backlit device, and they just have to listen and they can't be looking at a bright screen. So, like, that's just one example of it's free, built into all of our devices these days to have text read aloud. And the voices are getting better and better. These AI voices are
Yeah.
great. They used to be very robotic sounding, but they're so much better. And then research has shown that if you read with your eyes and your ears, so you're looking at the text and it's highlighted and maybe the sentence in blue and the words in yellow as you listen to a high quality voice, that research has shown for many people that improves the memory of the material and their understanding of the material. And you can change the rate, you can change the voice. So that's one example. Another example is for elders or for students and for everybody in between, the speech to text, right? So your ability to talk and have the words printed, typed for you,
Yeah.
um, is really helpful for people that have dysgraphia, so written language disability, or arthritis, or a broken arm, or different kinds of cognitive and language challenges.
Mhm.
You can, but it doesn't work for everybody. So for everybody on their phone or their tablet or their computer, there are ways that you can go into settings and you'll see a microphone and then you talk and you just see it typed. It doesn't work great for people that have slurred speech or who have heavy accents, but even that is getting better. And now there's some AI tools that if you have unintelligible or non-standard speech, there are tools like Voice It, and there are a couple others that you can train it to understand your speech so that it almost translates for you, for your ability to speak and have it typed, or even you speak and then it says it aloud in a way that other people can understand so you can use the phone or
Mhm.
just have a conversation in person.
It's
So,
great.
I mean, it's just unbelievable what's out there. And a lot of people just don't know what exists and they don't even know how to figure it out or to look for it, and
Yeah.
so I try to teach people, people come to me that just want to know if there's a solution for their problem.
I think it's something that most people take for granted, right? You have a phone, like, okay, I have this phone, and yeah, now I can have my email on the phone. That's great. And you don't realize how much can be done with this small device, or even tablets, or things like the Echo, or I mean, there's so much that can help so many people. And I think most just take it for granted in the day to day.
Right.
It's
Another solution that's really great for a lot of people are the video calls, right? So a
Mhm,
lot of people who have iPhones might use FaceTime, and that's a nice way to keep in touch, or Zoom, or
mhm,
if you have an Android phone, you can use Google Meet, which took over from Hangouts and Google Duo. But then there's a whole bunch of people that can't, for different reasons, cognitive reasons, or all kinds of reasons, use a smartphone or a
yeah.
computer. And now there are lots of really great options for just showing up. I know my husband's mother is 99 with dementia, and every night at 6:30 he calls her on a grand pad in an Echo Show with drop-in. So he just appears.
Yeah.
Set up the privacy settings, but she knows she doesn't know a lot and she doesn't do much, but she knows at 6:30 every day he calls and gives you an auditory and a visual signal, and then he just shows up right next to her bedside and they have conversations, or you can use on screen and show up on a TV, and so that's really great. Or if you're sick in the hospital and you want to be able to video call, this happened to my dad, and so all he wanted was his Echo Show.
Yeah.
He could have video calls and listen to music and send a text message all with his voice.
Yeah. And it's so amazing, and it helps the connections of families, and especially for elderly or someone that may be in the hospital. It just helps stay connected. I know that people can be hesitant when it comes to tech, whether they're older, or sometimes parents for children are hesitant to introduce tech. What is your advice to families that may have other family members or friends that are hesitant?
I think it's important, right? That's a great question because I help a lot of seniors and people are often saying, why, seniors don't want tech. And I think that's all wrong. But I think it has to be, you have to meet the person where they are and you have to try to help them figure out how it will improve their life. Like what's in it for them
Yeah.
that would help reestablish connections or overcome barriers. So it could, if somebody is not connected to their families, right, the video call is a great thing.
Hmm.
If people have trouble reading or writing, just showing them some solutions and
Yeah.
encouraging them to try. I have this Tech Life Inner Circle where I help
Mhm.
people each week, the members. I try to help them brainstorm solutions to some tech that might be helpful for them and then demonstrate it to them and help them get started, always figuring out the next steps. And so that makes it seem a little less daunting because everyone's afraid to press the wrong button and break something. And
Yeah.
really, there's very little you can do that's going to destroy your phone. I mean, you might, usually everything you can fix,
Yeah.
get back. And it's, just knowing what to do. And so having somebody around that's, a couple steps ahead of where you are, whether it be a friend or a family member or a tutor or somebody to help you, I think that eases a lot of the fear. Because if you think you broke something or you don't know how to recover from something you've touched, then and it takes away your ability to use your device. That's bad, so you need some kind of tech support. And not everybody has to have a technology solution for everything. I try not to force it down people's throats, but just to, start small and try one or two, you know, baby steps.
Yeah. And I do think the fear and anticipation is probably the most overwhelming part. I think once you can see like it's not so bad, it's okay, it can kind of ease that stress a little bit for
Right. And
a lot
now
of
with AI, I mean, for people that are sort of tech savvy, that's a really good way to get solutions to tech problems. So
people.
with that Tech Life Inner Circle, if somebody asks me a question and I don't know the answer, I demonstrate for them how I get the answer. And sometimes you have to double check. It's not always perfect, but I think that can be helpful. Also, looking for video tutorials on YouTube. Um,
Mhm.
there's a lot of people out there trying to help others, and they make money at it. The more people that watch it, the more money you get from it. So I have certain people that I follow that I think are really great instructors. And so often if you're trying to figure something out and someone shows it to you, you can record, sessions, or watch recordings that other people have done, and that can take away some fear also.
Yeah, there's so much out there now, and it's really cool to see. And I also feel like I've known you for a little over a year at this point, and AI has grown so much just in that time, and how much you're able to integrate now as you're doing the membership and workshops. And that's been really cool to see kind of in real time.
Yeah, yeah, because it's Chat GPT and Gemini. I mean, these tools are now built into our everyday
Yeah.
Google Docs, and Microsoft Word has Copilot. It's not just this elusive, expensive thing that the professionals are using. It's built right in there for everybody, and there are good points and bad points about this. I think people are going to lose certain skills because they overly rely on it, but it also and it's really a challenge for school systems to learn how to manage this, and you have to write an essay on something, and it's easy to have AI write an essay for you. So we have to be teaching ethical use and digital literacy, and it's a really tricky time. But I think that there are more benefits than harm if it's used correctly, and if I think it can help us move forward. But it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all tricky.
I can't imagine. I mean, thinking about being in college and, using actual encyclopedia books and going to the library and having to cite my sources. And now that you could probably be like, hey, ChatGPT, write me a 10-page essay. But I know that I almost think it's a extra tricky time too, because I do think there are certain kids that are doing their own work and maybe using it as a guide, and then certain kids who are not. And the teachers are trying to figure out this middle ground of who's being ethical about it and who's not. And I've seen And maybe they're true, maybe they're not. Some videos of kids in college who are fighting with their college going, no, I wrote this essay. I know that I did, but it's showing up as
Right.
AI.
Right. It is tricky. And I think, what is the purpose of education and of schools? And
Mhm.
I mean, I don't have all the answers, but we want to instill a love of learning, right? Because the whole point, jobs are going to be changing. And so we want to empower everybody to love learning and learn how to learn. And
Yeah.
it's changing, right? We're not looking in encyclopedias anymore. I mean, they're digital encyclopedias,
Hmm.
but you don't want to shortchange the learning process.
Right.
And so still it's good to read books. You don't want to always get a summary.
Yeah.
But for kids who have disabilities or not, seeing a summary first might then improve your ability to process the information as you read the book. So
Yeah.
you just have to, everybody has a different brain and it works in different ways. And so I think really teaching people of all ages to think about how their brain works.
Mhm.
And, some repetition is good. You don't want everything in a summary because then it doesn't all sink in that way. Or maybe you want a visual presentation of how things are linked together, or you're better with auditory
Yeah.
or just learning in different ways and stimulating different parts of the brain. So that
Hmm.
when I work with students, I always try to have them think about, well, what works for them? They're the boss and they want to learn, and I want them to learn how to learn and be able to advocate for themselves. But it is tricky because you can circumvent the learning process and just fake your way through it.
Yeah.
And so educators have to change how they're presenting material and checking knowledge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's tricky.
It's yeah. Yeah, I can't even imagine. And where it's going to go from here. I mean, it's only it's probably going to get trickier before it gets smoothed out a little bit for a while. And yeah, you mentioned the membership. So you run the Tech Life Inner Circle membership. Can you tell us what is that? Who is it meant to serve? Tell us more about it.
Sure. Well, it can get expensive to get private consults, right? I mean, because that's the mainstream. That's how I make most of my money is somebody comes to me and we do a couple of sessions on Zoom and I give professional guidance and read reports and whatever. But it's hundreds of dollars. It's a lot of money. And so I was trying to figure out what could I do to really empower people to keep up with all of this in some sort of membership way so that there's some community.
Mhm.
And what would be this magic solution to help people continue learning, but not have it be so overburdensome? And so I thought I tried a few different iterations, and I think the one I have now is good. And what it is it doesn't cost that much. I mean, I think it comes to $8 or $10 a week, something like that. And for that, you get a 10 to 15 minute presentation of either what's requested from group members or what I think people would benefit from knowing. And so I spent a few hours, you know, each week getting this presentation together. And so I've highlighted a lot of my favorite AI tools or accessibility tools or resources and try to zero in on why you might be interested in it, who can benefit from, and then how to get started using it just in plain, easy language. I don't sell any of these products and I don't have financial arrangements with anybody. So it's
Mhm.
it's just what I think. And then that's followed by 45 minutes of Ask Me Anything Q&A. So it doesn't have to be related to that topic, although usually people end up talking about it a bit. I don't record the Q&A part, but I do record the tech talk so that
Mhm.
now we have quite a robust library of video resources where people can go back and see them all. I've been doing it since I think October. And I
Mhm.
also used to have a monthly webinar called They May Not Know. And so there's a lot included in the membership. And then, the ability to keep on learning and to have questions answered on anything. And if I don't know the answer, we figure it out together what the next step should be. And it meets each week. So I need to grow it to make it viable.
Yeah.
But I'm really convinced that this is a great way to go for people who would like a bit of help or community to keep becoming more tech savvy. So we have some aging adults. I have tutors and teachers and speech pathologists and some older students. It's a wide range of people and a wide range skills. Some are pretty tech savvy, but they just really like to be in this community because it's hard. I don't know of anything else just like this. And some
Yeah.
people feel inept when it comes to tech and just really need guidance with the simplest questions, which is fine. And it's nice because we're building some relationships in the group. And there's no pressure to come. You can just watch the video recording if you want. Of course, I like it when people come live. It's more
Yeah.
fun for me, but we can share screens and help people through.
Yeah.
Talked about, being more productive with email and organizing in Google Drive or Microsoft OneNote. I mean, there are a whole bunch, people have such a wide range of questions and needs, and some people just come because they want to see what questions other people ask and then learn from that.
Yeah. When you're setting up the presentations, how are you able to make sure that it's covering everybody who's watching? So if you're a professional, if you're a caregiver, if you're a student, do you have kind of a secret sauce to make sure it's covering the needs of everyone at once?
Each tech talk
Yeah.
different what I try to do is present the product and then different ways that different people can use it and benefit from it. So a lot of times it's like this week we're doing Speechify. That I'm doing that I think on Thursday. And so that's that's a tool that reads text aloud with great AI voices. And so you have the free built-in accessibility features of any device that can read aloud, but they don't talk to each other, device to device, And so this is something that can cut across all platforms, and it can be for people with disabilities that have, dyslexia, or it can be people who are just busy and want to listen while they're cooking or driving, or, aging adults that might have visual challenges. So I try to give some examples or scenarios of how different people might benefit from the tool.
Yeah, and it's great how you also just show like just how to get started. Like how you got an Echo for the holidays maybe. How now what do I do with this? Or, you're opening you hear about this Chat GPT thing. What am I supposed to do with it? It's great how you kind of start from the beginning and take people through. You demonstrate how to do it. You can see in real time you know what type of things may work or may not work. So I think it's really great the sense of community that's there where you're kind of all in it together.
And I try to anticipate where problems may occur,
Mhm.
right? Because sometimes if people are enabling something on their phone or turning on a feature and they turn on the wrong one, it
Yeah.
can be a problem. Like if you're on an iPhone and you turn on, there's one for people who are blind.
Hmm.
And then there's selecting text. And if you turn on the one that's for people who are blind or very low vision, it changes the whole interface of the computer.
Mm.
And it's a little bit harder to recover from that. So I try to give warning signs
Yeah.
of what people should not do,
Yeah.
of voiceover instead of select text. So sometimes I try to give warnings or say if this happens, that's what you did wrong and how to get out of the problem.
Yeah. Have you received any kind of feedback from the membership or somebody's story that has stuck out to you that being part of this community?
Well, people seem to love it. I mean, I
Yeah.
think the people that attend just really find it approachable and supportive and friendly, and they like hearing other people's questions. And often they come not even knowing what I'm going to talk about, but I think once people get to know me, they just realize that I just feature things that I think are really helpful for a lot of different people, and so they just like learning about it.
Yeah.
And then they think about, some are providers of service to other people, so they want to be in the know and it helps them do their job better.
Hmm.
Some are just people that want to become more tech savvy. I mean, there's a whole wide range of people in the group. And, sometimes I get a lot, it's not a big group. I mean,
Hmm.
right now I just get, 5 to 10 people.
Hmm.
So it's pretty small. And so a lot
Yeah.
of people get a lot of individual attention and they feel bad asking their own specific questions. But then the others say, I didn't know this, like that. Like it's very
Yeah.
encouraging.
No, but it's great to have that feeling where, oh, I'm not alone in this. I'm not the only one who didn't know about this tool or whatever it is. So,
And my biggest challenge is getting the word out. So I'm grateful for you to
yeah.
speak about it because it's really, really hard to to convey how great the group is. I mean, I really think it has potential for people, and there's nothing like it out there unless you have your own community of
Mhm.
tech support. And I try to, I mean, I think in senior care communities, every place should have a tech group and
Yes.
learn from each other, but then they're the leaders of those communities that need help. And so I'm trying to encourage those leaders, sometimes they're volunteer and sometimes they're paid, to join this Tech Life Inner Circle
Mhm.
because there may be other participants, they're not specialists in this and they have questions too. And then they can bring those scenarios to the group and we can brainstorm and then they can bring it back to their group. Everybody needs their own inner circle.
Yes.
Don't have one, this is a great one to join. But and the leaders of all the tech circles should join the group.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people don't know about. I mean, this is all I do. This is my whole special area is figuring out how to use all these mainstream devices to help people with different kinds of challenges. And
Yeah.
most people don't really think about that.
Yeah. And there are so many caregivers or teachers or people that maybe are a little bit tech savvy but aren't sure how to hone in on specific groups to teach the tech to that could probably like volunteer at their local library and run some classes, but you can probably help them get to that point by learning all these tools and the different groups that they could help.
Right. For a while, I had something called the Elder Tech Advisor Network,
Mhm.
and I really thought that that was a great way to go because really aging care communities and senior care organizations should be empowering people to with tech.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the owners, the companies that they just don't see the value in it, and they're
Mhm.
relying on a lot of volunteers. But the volunteers need help, and they get burnt out, and they don't know all the answers.
Yeah.
So there are great organizations like Senior Planet. I mean,
Hmm.
there are a number, cyber seniors. There are more and more of these popping up, which are great, but they're not necessarily interactive. It's more of a lecture,
Mm.
presentation. And so I like this membership because you can ask questions. And although some of those they have some of those kind of meetings too. So they're great. I mean, there are a number of really great resources. And I try to make everyone in the membership aware of all the resources out there because they're popping up more and more now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the group serves such a big benefit for the Q&A portion because I think a lot of time during these presentations, people can sit there and go, "Oh yeah, yeah, I get it," and then they walk away and go, "Wait, what?" Because no one there wasn't an ability to ask questions, there wasn't an ability to have the conversations, and you're providing that in the membership.
Right.
Yeah, which is huge. So aside from the one-on-ones you do and this membership, you also take part in a lot of various workshops and you work with different organizations as well sometimes. But one of the workshops you have coming up is the Tech for College Success. So can you tell us a little bit about that one?
I would be happy to. We have two workshops scheduled in June. We may do another one in July or August of summer of 2025. And what this is I found myself often recommending a lot of the same strategies and tools and approaches to a lot of the high school and college students who come to me for support. That a
Mhm.
lot of them are really struggling with time management and organization and just getting things done and taking notes and learning new material. And as they get older and they hope to go to college or they're in college, they really struggle. And there aren't a lot of people out there that are in the know of a lot of strategies. I mean, there are a lot of executive functioning coaches out there and tutors, but many of them don't use technology or feel comfortable with technology. And so I found myself often, I sort of streamlined this approach that I would use with many of the students who come to me. And so what I did is I was asked by some Eric Enlick and April Miller, who are very much into the world of neurodiverse students and college admissions. And they asked me to create a course. And the first course was for providers. So it was for the tutors and the teachers and the trainers and the parents. It wasn't for the students themselves, and it was fast paced. And I reviewed all of my favorite tools and strategies. And that's still available on my website, innovativespeech.com. But then after that, they were sort of blown away. We had a lot of great attendance at this, and they were blown away by all that's available
Mhm.
and got a bit overwhelmed. And so then what they wanted me to do is slow it down, pick my favorite tools, have a more hands-on approach with a smaller group. and provide more hours to it. So the first course was 3 hours. This is 6 hours, and sort of give a roadmap of what to do. And I thought, I'll throw in an individual session also. So I have an individual session to meet some of those needs that I'm not going to cover them in the course.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've really tried to streamline an approach that is not a lecture format, which the last course was, but this is really a workshop. So it's like I demonstrate, I try to engage the students, knowing that these are going to be a lot of students, and adults are welcome too, tutors and teachers and trainers. I want to have them be really engaged and to buy into this stuff. So I'm trying to, we haven't done it yet. It starts next week, but I'm really going to try hard to have it be engaging and relevant. And then a lot of people have ADHD, so I have to have a lot of breaks
Mm-hmm.
and not all listening. So it's going to be hands-on and going through my top strategies and tools. And for the wow factor, I'm throwing AI tools in there too because they're just so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Some really cool note-taking tools, but you need permission to record. And
Mm-hmm.
then you can record, you get a transcription, you engage with it, you give yourself clues so you don't have to listen to the whole recording, but it will summarize things, it will quiz it, present quizzes to you, it will answer questions about the content that had been provided.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Glean and Notebook LM and AOA, and I mean there are really cool things out there, but also the basics of how to manage. We're going to stick to Google tools. So how to manage your Gmail, how to organize your Google Drive, how to, use a calendar and get reminders and
Yeah.
basic organization skills thrown in with AI to make it really fun. And so we're going to have these work sprints where I show things and then I'm like, okay, now it's your turn. Turn on a timer for 20 minutes. And let's everybody write down 2 goals and share them in the chat, what you're going to do. And then you work, like you turn down the volume and you work, but I'll be here if you have questions. And then
Okay.
people can come and ask questions. And then, then we bring everybody back and we go to the next topic. So I'm
That's
hoping
great.
it's 3 consecutive days for 2 hours each. And then I expect people to practice in between the sessions. So I'm really hoping that with those workshops, it'll get people ready for the fall.
I think, as you mentioned, executive functioning skills, those are even more important to have once you get to college because you're really a little bit more on your own. You might be completely on your own if you're going away to school, but the teachers, the professors, they really expect you to have those skills set and down before you enter their classroom because there is so much content that you go through and there is so much that you learn. How do you think the workshop and going through all of the time management plans and the calendars and the different Google tools, how do you think those will help students with their executive functioning skills?
Oh, I think they're going to totally get set up for success. So
Yeah.
So it's not just about watching me do something, but they're going to be actually in their Chrome browser, in their Google Drive, setting up their color-coded folders
Hmm.
for classes or parts of their life that are important, going into their Gmail and snoozing emails to come back at certain times. Like there are a lot of just tricks that, setting up their bookmarks so they can easily access the school's portal. So my hope is that they're going to have a system in place and ready to go and have practiced with the tools before they really need to use them.
Yeah.
So I want it to be all practical. It's not a theoretical kind of course. It's hands-on, getting yourself set up. And then even if after the 6 hour workshop, you won't be totally done, but at least you'll be on a path and you can, practice the rest of the summer or, in your Google Calendar, you'll have an appointment with yourself every Sunday morning to manage your calendar and look at your tasks. And so it's setting up some basic strategies and at least they'll have a different mindset of, a lot of these kids can be really good at playing games, and social media. They're really tech savvy and they whiz all around, but they don't think to use a lot of these tools to help themselves be better organized and productive. They just don't.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
do, but a lot don't. It doesn't even occur to them.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and technology gets, it's all a distraction and you're supposed to put away your devices and it can lead to, tech addiction. I mean, there are a lot of problems. You can fall for scams and, I mean, I'm not getting into some of that here, but tech has gotten a real bad name in so many ways. And so I'm
Mhm.
trying to help them realize that there's it can also be your best friend if you use it wisely. It's all about making good choices and using it wisely. And a lot of kids that have dyslexia, dysgraphia, ADHD, autism, I mean, a lot of autistic individuals, this tech can really, really help them with some of these sites that I share.
Yeah.
Goblin tools. I mean, that's just such a great, you can put in an email and it can tell you if it's a sarcastic email or if you want to change the tone or make it more professional. And, some of these tools are really helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Going back to our AI discussion earlier, what is your tip for students on how they can balance AI with their coursework, with writing papers, and making sure they're making the right choices when it comes to AI?
I mean, I think that's a great question. That's like the $1 million question,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I want to make sure I'm not losing my skills because I
Yeah.
use AI all the time.
Hmm.
I think you want to make sure that you're still learning. I mean, that you're taking ownership of this and that it's your voice and it's your thoughts and that you're learning. And you could put in a question to Gemini, Perplexity, the different tools, ChatGPT, and get three different answers.
Yeah.
And so you want to always be evaluating if you agree with the answer. You want to be checking the citations. You want to make sure that if you had to summarize with your own words without reading anything what you've learned and what you've written about, that you've learned that information. It's great for brainstorming ideas, but you don't want to have it do the work. I mean, you have to, it should be your writing. I mean, you can have it check your spelling or something, and it could help you write an outline.
Hmm.
But then are we going to lose the ability to write outlines ourselves? I don't know.
Right.
Does it matter? But
Yeah.
sometimes I'll have it write an outline and I don't like the outline it comes up with at all because it's not the main points that I wanted to include. So
Mhm.
I tend to have a stream of consciousness and give ChatGPT as much information as I can, give it a lot of my work and have it use my voice.
Yeah.
And sometimes I like what it comes up with and sometimes I don't. So you have to always be the boss and be in control,
Yeah.
and make sure that you agree with everything. But it can be very helpful for research
Yeah. Yeah, for
and help us
sure.
find tools. I mean, I'm all for saving time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I answered your question, but
It's
it's a hard time right now.
Yeah, it's tricky and it's a balance and it's trying to find that balance of using it as a tool, but it's not the end all be all answer to everything.
And I can tell when people use it. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes dead giveaways like that long dash.
Yeah.
Oh, the long dash. It's like all of a sudden everybody's
Yes.
social media marketing and essays and all this have long dashes, and nobody had used long dashes before.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and it has the same emojis for everybody. It
Mhm.
always uses the same ones. And so I try to take those out,
Yeah.
and have it be my voice. And it often says things better than I can on my own. And I like how it edits. Sometimes I like it and sometimes I don't, but I
Yeah.
want to always be in charge.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So what are the dates of the workshop?
If you go to bit.ly/summer workshops tech for college success, and if you go to that page, you'll see as of right now, we have the two scheduled. One is June 3rd to 5th, and then the second one is June 24th to 26th. And we're limiting it to small groups so everybody gets plenty of time. And then there are lots of perks. Everyone gets a half-hour session with me, one-on-one on Zoom, anytime. Doesn't, either before or after, probably not during those days because you'll be too busy. And then there are all kinds of discounts that you'll find on the website.
That's awesome. Love it. Before we wrap up, I have two final questions for you. First, can you tell me your personal favorite tech tool or app that you discovered maybe this year since they change all the time and why you love it?
I think it was this year. I've been using Google Lens a lot.
Hmm.
So on the iPhone, you can go to the Google app, the colorful G. There's no Google Lens app,
Yeah.
but it's a feature that's in the Google app or on Android phones. It can be built into the camera icon or in the search bar of Google. It's that little camera icon, and I've been using it all the time. Myself, if I see a plant and I want to know what kind of plant it is or what kind of
Mhm.
dog I'm seeing, or if I'm looking at a famous statue and I want to learn about it, or I'm reading a menu in a different language and I want it translated, it does all that for free instantly. You just use the camera of your phone and press a button, and you can hear text read aloud or find similar. It does a search and you find similar things. Or what's really cool is if you see an object that you don't know what it is for. You can put
Mhm.
it in there and find out its value and its function.
Yeah,
Really cool.
that's really cool. And what do you think is one misconception about tech that you would like to flip the script on and let everyone know? No, it's not like this.
I mean, everybody often sees the bad things about tech,
Yeah.
which I alluded to before. It's a source of distraction, it
Mhm.
inhibits learning, it promotes cheating. It is undermining the education system. Seniors don't need to use it. It's a source of scams. You can
Yeah.
get ripped off. I mean, all these bad things. And I often present with some people that specialize in tech addiction, but then I present afterwards and I'm like, but don't forget the good.
Yeah.
It's all in how you use it. And so you can really help people overcome disabilities and really up the game in terms of productivity with wise use. And so it's all about how you use it. And so
Yeah.
it's all within our power to have it be for good or for bad. And so I just try to help people. It's here to stay, and
Mhm.
AI is here to stay. So we might as well get as much out of it as we can.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
That's
Make
science.
friends.
I didn't make it up. It's here. And so we might as well use it to help people.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's the thing. I think sometimes with the hesitancy, it's like, I don't have to, I'm not worried about that. But it's like, yeah, but it's only going to grow and become ingrained in our life more. You gotta probably make friends with it.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to give you this time to promote all of your things, tell people where they can find you, how they can connect with you, everything.
Well, thank you very much. So my business is innovative speech. So you can go to the real name is Innovative Speech Therapy, but I'm really not doing so much therapy anymore. I might rebrand at some point. I'm not sure. But you go to Innovative Speech. So that's INNOVATIVESPEECH.com. And then that's where you can find out what I'm doing. And so under online learning, it talks about the Tech Life Inner Circle. It talks about my upcoming events, and that's where the Tech for College Success summer workshops are promoted. That's probably, I'm also on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook. So I try to get the word out there. If anyone wants to stay in touch with me, you can always email me, joan@innovativespeech.com. And I have a newsletter. I try not to send out too many, to spam people, and I never sell lists or anything like that. I'm just trying to help people figure out this world of tech to make life easier.
And you have a ton of knowledge to share. So it's everyone needs to know you.
Well, I appreciate your help.
Well, thank you for being my guest today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for listening to the Just My Mom Sense podcast. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Just My Mom Sense, or visit justmymomsense.com for past vlogs and a few of my favorite things. Music produced by Matt Harvey.